12 years ago, I remember I was in a meeting at Yahoo in the Silicon Valley here in California. And I remember there were about 12 of us. There was a product manager, project manager, visual designer, marketing experts, engineers, and a few user experience researchers like myself. And I remember everybody was excited. We were kind of working on a new feature, a new product for Yahoo, and everybody was chiming in about what they wanted to do, ideas, and brainstorming. And I remember feeling like I didn't belong. I was feeling a bit like an imposter in this meeting. It was hard really for me to be interested in the topic. I was forcing myself to come up with ideas, show that I was interested and excited. But inside of myself, I was not. I was not the technology. Making a difference in the technology was not really what was lighting me up inside. I was trying to come up with ideas and feeling confused about that. And I remember feeling like I really want to have something meaningful, to make a difference in my work. But I don't think making better product is mine. It might be the purpose of people in the room or the people, but it doesn't feel like this is my purpose. And I remember feeling lost about how to find out what my purpose was and how to make it happen. And so if this is the case for you, if does anything like that seem, you can resonate with, maybe you've been working in a career for a while and you have lost your passion for your industry or your role. Maybe you like what you are doing or you love it, but you feel like, oh, how could I infuse more purpose in my work? Or maybe you are longing for a meaningful career that really makes a difference and maybe leave a legacy. So if it is the case, this session is for you. And I'm really happy to present it with you tonight. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Okay. Great. So this talk is about aligning your career with your life purpose. And I'm it means a lot for me to give this talk, because me giving the talk is actually me living my life purpose. I really believe that every single person on the planet has a unique gift to bring to the world. And most people are not aware of that. Most people don't know who they are, what these gifts are. And that really saddens me to see people not expressing their unique gift in the world and making the difference they are here to make. And I know that each one of you tonight, every single of you, you have some gift inside of you. You have a contribution to make. Whatever the size, it doesn't have to be something big. And I know it because after working with hundreds of people, every time I see it in each person I work with. And this is why I care so much about this work. And tonight, my intention is to help you wherever you are on your journey, but to help you see more clearly some of your gift and your purpose and find ways to align more your work and your career with these gifts. So what we will learn in this presentation, so we look at the #1 key factor to aligning your career with your life purpose. That will really bring you a sense of clarity and certainty. We'll then explore the 4 elements of your unique career blueprint. That is really the key of doing purposeful work in the world. And finally, we'll look at the 5 steps to go from bored and trapped in your career or wherever you are to, striving in your career and having work aligned with your purpose. So before, I won't go into the details about that because Abhijit already presented it, but I would love, before I'm gonna share a little bit of my story before we dive in the content, so that you know how I came about doing the work I do. And I would love to hear a little bit more from you. So if you can put in the chat, what brought you here tonight to this specific presentation? Just a quick, quick sentence, if you could put that in the chat, so I know a little bit more about you and how to help you better tonight. So I saw Abhijit, how to realize a gift which we have and share it with the world. Junie, want to have more insight about finding purpose in career. Shruti, I hope I'm saying your name well. I don't know my life purpose. Okay. Vivian, self-discovery. Awesome, great. So as feel free to, if you want to add more things in the chat, feel free to do that. While you are doing that, I'm gonna share a little bit about more my story about how I went into aligning my career with my life purpose. Great. And what I want you to say, as I'm sharing my story, and also as I will go into the content for this presentation, I really invite you, when you have what I call a nugget, you have maybe an insight coming up, or there is something I share and you relate to it, or you have a realization, whatever it is, I invite you to share it in the chat briefly. And the reason why I invite you to do that is because you may inspire other people. Someone may say, oh, me too. Or you may also, it's a great way as well for you to take in the teaching and the learning. And for me as well, to see where you are at, so that I can adapt even more my presentation to you. So I really invite you, if that feels good to you, to share along the way in the chat as I'm sharing about my story in the rest of the content. Is that good for you to do that? If you're gonna give me a thumbs up, or so that I know we're on the same page. Awesome, great. And I'm actually gonna stop sharing the screen as I'm sharing my story, so that I can be more here with all of you. And those of you who join, as much as possible, if you can. Sometimes it's not possible. If you are able to put your video on, that's really great, because we can really feel like we're in the same room together and I can see you. So I encourage you, I would invite you to do that as well. And it allows you to be more present, because sometimes we can be distracted doing other things. So it helps you to be more present. So if you are able to, I would love to, I would love that. And if not, that's okay, I understand. So right now I have a really good alignment between my career and my life purpose. The work I'm doing is really in alignment with my life purpose, but it hasn't always been the case. So let me go back a little bit in my life, so that you understand what has been my journey on that. So I grew up in the southwest of France on a farm, and I was a kid. As a kid, I remember being having a lot of emotional intelligence, a lot of empathy for people, being sensitive, being intuitive, having a lot of relational type of intelligence. This is the way I was. And in France, in school, you may not know that, but in France, what is really emphasized is a lot of rational type of intelligence, being rational, analytical, critical thinking. France is the country of the philosopher Descartes, who said, you may know the quote, who said, I think, therefore I am. So France is a lot about thinking, rational thinking, critical thinking. So which means in school, there is a lot of emphasis on that. So as a child, I didn't know better, and I didn't have in my life people who were kind of modeling my way of being in the world. So to fit in, to be accepted by my peers, by my family, by the system, I followed, the school and what was required of me to have good grades, to be successful. And because I have that in me, I have a strong rational side in me, it's part of me, but not all of me. I did pretty well in school, even if I had to, maybe sometime work harder, but I did pretty well. And what happened is that from that point on, my education and my career journey was informed by that. So I made choices in terms of school, graduate school, and my careers based on that initial thing about being more rational and choosing career aligned with that. So I ended up studying information science, doing a master's degree in information science in France, in Paris. And then going into user experience research as a career. So if you don't know what user experience research is, and there is a lot of that in tech industry, in tech companies, and it's helping ensuring websites, application, software are really easy to use for people and adjusting that to them. So this is what I did. And I moved, at the time, I also moved to Canada. I moved to Montreal, Canada. And I remember as I was working on the side, I discovered a passion for self-discovery, psychology, personal growth, all about who am I? What are my talents and my strengths? What is my personality type? I would just be so, that was my thing. Like I would read books and take workshops and journal about it. And I would just be passionate about it. That was really a passion of mine. And I remember in Montreal, one day in Montreal, I was sitting on my couch in my solo apartment. And I was journaling about, what I was from a book that I was reading. And I remember having this insight. Wow, if one day this could be part of my work, that would be amazing. Without really believing it could happen, because in my mind, this was not work. The way I was raised, it was like, you cannot do work. I cannot do work with that. It's on the side. So there was an internal conflict, was like, yeah, I would love to do that, but I don't think it's possible. And in the meantime, a few years after that, I moved to California, to the Silicon Valley, to work for Yahoo, which was another of my dream to do that. So I was able to make that happen. And initially I was really excited, it was my dream coming true. I was in California, near San Francisco, and I was working with super smart people, at Yahoo, like super smart and very innovative. So that was kind of a dream of mine and a goal that I wanted to achieve. So I was really happy about it. However, after some time, I started to feel the toll and the consequences of me for years and years, trying to fit in a box that was not me completely, trying to fit in the box of what success was supposed to look like, what work was supposed to be, and more around, like a rational type of intelligence and analytical intelligence, which I was good. I have developed because I've done it so much, I could be good at it. But it started being exhausting because this is not the way I'm truly designed to be. So I started to feel sad, depressed, to go to work. I even remember one day I had to call my therapist in the middle of the day because I wasn't quite I was really like, oh my God, I cannot do that anymore. This is too hard. And I was doubting myself the hardest, that I was wondering, am I good enough? What's my problem? I thought that I was broken and I have something to fix about myself, and that I was not smart enough. So that was quite painful. And sometimes after that, Yahoo went through a lot of different layoffs, and I was affected by one of them. And initially there was a shock. I remember when I was in the room with my manager when he told me. I still remember the moment. I was like in panic, because my visa to stay in California and the US was tied to my work. So for me, losing my work will also say how I'm gonna stay in the US. So it felt like a double layoff at the same time coming to me. However, in this meeting also, there was a part of me that was like, thank goodness. There was a relief. There was a part of me that was really relieved, because finally you cannot go out of your box and do something that is you love so much. And this is when I realized this is time for me. That dream that I had back in Montreal, this is time for me to make it happen. Because what happened in the years before, on the side, I was continuing feeding that passion, taking classes, getting certification, reading books. And I knew that maybe at some point I may want to shift. So I had done a lot of that. And through all my discovery and classes, I understood what happened. I understood that I built my career on the wrong blueprint. Not on my blueprint, because I'm going to share with you, I really believe we all have a unique blueprint of who we are, with natural talents, strengths, gifts that are natural to us. We are even born with them. And what happened is that I had chosen a career that was not in alignment with my blueprint. So no wonder that I had to work, no wonder that I was not feeling good enough or smart enough. It's not that I was not smart enough. It's because I was in the wrong place for me. Like if you ask a fish to climb a tree and become a monkey, that's kind of the same thing. It's a bit, it's like that. And so many people do that. And so I realized that was such a big realization for me, and give me the confidence and motivation to take the step to change that. So I went back to school. I studied coaching, psychology. And then I ended up starting my own business, which I was scared about initially. That's another story. I was really scared. And I started my own business to do what I'm doing now, which is helping professionals and leaders who often have had 10 or 20 years in their careers, have been successful, and reach a point where they don't feel the passion anymore for their work, and they want to do something that makes a difference, but they don't know what it is. Or maybe they are doing something they like, but they want to infuse more purpose in it, but they are stuck about knowing what it is and how to do it. And most of the time is because the work they are doing, or at least part of it, is not in alignment with their true blueprint. And often they are not aware what really is their blueprint, because there is no school, at least in the countries I have lived in, cannot talk for the rest, there is no school where you learn about that. You learn about yourself. You learn all about what is outside of you, but you don't have a compass to navigate yourself and your life and your career. So this is I really help people with that. And now I've helped hundreds of people around the world doing this. And the beauty of it is that in my work, the dream that I had back in Montreal, this is what I'm doing in my work. This is an integral part of my work and some of the things I'm going to share with you tonight. And also I want to say, I love my work. Not that it's everything perfect, I have my stressful time and things like that, but overall, I feel confident in my work. Like, tonight with you, I'm sharing this session, and I feel, I'm sure I could improve my speaking skills, but I'm coming from my passion with you. So I feel confident because I know this is the thing I'm the best at. This is what I love doing. This is what happens when you do work aligned with your blueprint. And I'm living my purpose, which working in tech was not living my purpose. And so what I know for you, I know it's possible for you. And I know also for you and for everybody aligning your career with your life purpose is first and foremost aligning your career with yourself and your true blueprint. And this is what I'm going to help you do tonight. So I see some comment in the chat. Elma, being in the wrong environment would have a negative impact on you. Definitely. Yeah, this is really what happened. I see Junie, please share one case on how you help a client. This is so I can understand how this works. Yeah, so I'm not sure what you mean by how I help. So in this session, we're gonna give actually concrete tools, which is gonna show you how I help my client. We're gonna do that with you. So I think is gonna actually help you understand how this works. Is that what your question is about, Junie? I want to check if I'm getting that right. And then through that, I will share examples, concrete examples of clients. So I think
either way.
Yeah. Okay.
Either way. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And let me know as we are going through the content, if you have more questions and want me to clarify things, I'm happy to do that along the way. And I see Brian. I'm a fellow UX researcher who also studied information science in grad school. Yay! I'm glad you are here, Brian. That's awesome. Yes, 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 yes. A fellow user experience researcher. Great. Okay. So let me share again my screen. Okay. So now I'd like to know a bit about you and how do you think you are living your purpose at work? So knowing from a scale from 1 to 10, and you're going to put that in the chat, the number in the chat, 1 being like, no, I'm not living my purpose at all. 10 being like, oh yes, I feel really satisfied. I feel like I'm making a contribution. I feel good with the way I'm using my gift. So go with your gut feeling about that. And 5 is being like, I'm somewhat. So you may not know exactly, this is not, exact science. Go with your gut feeling. What is the first number coming to mind? So that I have a feel about where you are, where you're at. Good, so I see 7, some 10s. Wow, congrats for the 10s. I see some 5s, 8, 3, 6, 7.5. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 7, 9. Okay, so we have kind of a range. We have, when I see we have a lot of people, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, 9. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. And wherever you are, you're gonna get a lot out of this presentation and session, because there is always a place where we can, how can we align more our career with our purpose and infuse more? So wherever you are in your situation. So why this call and how to move it up? So I'm going to share more about that. Do you want to know how to move up your score? Give me a thumbs up if you want that. Great. And feel free to continue sharing in the chat, any insight as I'm sharing this with you. And then we'll do also some exercise a bit later on in this session. So your authentic self. So what I called your authentic self is the same thing when I told you about your blueprint, your true self. This is really the same thing. This is who you are, and your innate talents, the contribution you are here to make, your unique gifts that are natural to you. And what happens for all of us, by the way, to some degree or some, I don't know anybody who wasn't affected by that, we receive some kind of shoulds and conditioning, either in our family of origin, at school, in our country, in our culture, in the corporate world, And we receive often there is conditioning about what success is supposed to look like. For example, in some countries, being a lawyer or a doctor is success, or climbing the corporate ladder is success. We receive conditioning about what intelligence is supposed to look like in my case. We receive conditioning about, a man, if I am, identify as a man, I should like that. If I like something else, that's wrong. Or as a woman, I should like that. So just a few examples of conditioning, but you have all kinds of them, or what work is supposed to look like, or anything like that. So, and as a result of it, a lot of people tend to choose their career path and or sometimes their life based on some conditioning, based on what success is supposed to look like. So what I want to say, this varies on people. Some people is very strong. I've seen people I worked with where, I mean, they chose something completely opposite. Like they went into law school because what was value for them. I saw some second immigrant from China, remember, especially it's often the case. And then working with them and realizing they were not meant to do law. They were meant to do something in design and decoration. So sometimes there is like night and day. And sometimes for some of you, that maybe you are partly aligned with your authentic self in your work and partly aligned on conditioning. And there is always a place where you can be more aligned with your authentic self. And as a result, when we do a career that is more conditioned on the shoots, as a result, after a while, we can start becoming bored. Something is missing. You can also start having self-doubt and lack of confidence, like in my case. And at the end of the spectrum, if you do that for a long time and your work is really in opposition with your authentic self, you can become depressed and have burnout. I've seen that in clients I've worked with. And the burnout was coming from the disconnection between the authentic self and the work they were doing, or at least part of it. And as a result, you have a lack of purpose and meaning in your life, in your career. And also, I would say it impacts everything in your life. It can impact your relationship, your health. I've seen people have bad health as a result of that because the stress you generate at work become like health issues. I've seen people, all kind of it can impact your finances, it can impact everything. So the score that you gave me at the beginning, just earlier, it's, the more your career is aligned with your authentic self, the higher your score is going to be. And the less your work is aligned with your authentic self, often, it's not perfect science, but often the less your score is going to be lowest when that happens. And also some of you may not know fully what your authentic self is. So this is what we're going to do, help you today. Does that make sense? If you can give me a thumbs up if you are with me. Awesome. I love the thumbs up. And feel free to, if you have a question, you're like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm unclear, feel free to put a question in the chat. So now you may wonder, okay, how do we move the score up? What do we do about this? So the thing is really to go back to your authentic self and your true blueprint. Instead of looking for solution on the outside, I see so many people trying to find solution externally. Asking people for advice. What do you think I should do? Doing a lot of job interviews, saying, oh, maybe I'm gonna take a bunch of classes, and in the end, I will land, I will figure out what I want to do, and being stuck. So it's a lot about being back to your authentic self and clarifying that. And we're gonna do some of that with you today. And once you are in contact with your authentic self and you align that with your career, you can step into an authentic career that is really an expression of you. And as a result, you're gonna feel energized, confident, you're gonna feel some ease, you're gonna feel excited. This is what being excited to get up in the morning to go to work. This is where it's coming from. It's coming from that place, and alive. And you'll have a sense of purpose and meaning in your life. And your your career will be aligned with your life purpose as a result of doing that. So at this point, you may wonder, okay, how do we do that? You know, how do we align, discover more authentic self, and move the score up? So this is what we're going to talk about, and I'm going to talk specifically about the 4 elements of your authentic self blueprint. And I want to say as well, sometimes I see people who they fall into their career. It's not that they didn't make an intentional choice. They end up, you know, making decision that they follow the opportunity that comes, and they reach a point where, like, that's great, I took the opportunities, but I don't know if it's really aligned with me, and I never did an intentional work to clarify what I'm here to do. So this allows you to be intentional about it. So you are going in the right direction for yourself, and knowing why it is the right direction for you. Everybody is following me so far? You got it? So I'll just give you a minute or two to look at the diagram before I start diving into it. Great. So this diagram, and you may have seen something that looks a little bit similar elsewhere. This one, I designed it myself based on what I've seen happening with my client and my knowledge of it. So they are the 4 elements of your authentic self blueprint. And at the intersection of these 4, there is the authentic self. And also the more you align your work with these 4 elements, the more you're going to live your purpose, your life purpose in your career. So I invite you, as I'm going to go through each one of them, and we're going to do some, you know, exercises for each one of them, or give you some cues to how to start identifying them. I invite you to think about, for each one, to look at how clear am I, your level of clarity for each one, how much do you know, and then looking at your level of alignment, how much my current work seems to be aligned with that one. You may or may not know that, but just get a sense of it a little bit. So let's start with your core drivers and values for fulfillment. This one, I would say, is the most important one. It's the foundation of everything. If this one is not in place, you know, it's like being a house on the wrong foundation. It just won't work. And I see a lot of people I work with where the misalignment is coming first and foremost from that place. So this is core. It's why I start with this one. So what it is, imagine you want to make a cake, a delicious cake, or whatever sweet or savory treat that you like, you know, depending on your country. It might be a cake, it might be something else. So whatever sweet treats you want to make, and if you are not into sweets, maybe you can think about a savory treat for you. So think about that. When you want to make a good cake or a treat, you have to think, what ingredients do I like? What do I want to put in my cake? And for example, you may want, oh, I love chocolate, so I need to have chocolate in there. Oh, I love vanilla in there. Or I love, you know, some frosting, or whatever it is for you. So I want to hear from a few of you. You can either put in the chat or just unmute yourself. What ingredient do you like to put in your cake or savory treat? What are your favorite things? So feel free to unmute yourself and share with me, or just put it in the chat. So I see Robert say coconut, ginger, dark chocolate, fruits, cake is cheesecake. Awesome.
Dry fruits.
What did you say?
Dry fruits.
Dry fruits. Yes. Awesome. What kind of dry fruits?
Almond.
Almond. I see someone.
Something like that. Pistas or something. I don't know what is called over there. What is called pistas?
Pistachio?
Cashews or something.
Yeah, pistachio, cashew. Okay, got it. I love it. I love the diversity of it. So this is the same. Avocado, I see. Yes. Okay. Love it. So this is the same for your career and for your work. If you want to have work and a career that is delicious for you, you need to ensure you have the ingredients you like in it. And most people don't know. They are walking in the world blind, not knowing exactly what ingredients do I need to make to make my career delicious for myself. So this is the starting point. For example, you may, do you like collaborations? It's just, I'm talking about a few examples. Some people they love collaboration. They need teamwork. If they don't have collaboration, they die inside. Or are you more someone who just like, one-on-one, just small, maybe you like both? Are you someone who like, for example, to be really independent and have the freedom to solve the problem the way you see fit? I remember working with a client, and he discovered through the process together, he's someone who he hate being micromanaged. Give me like a project and just let me figure it out. He liked the independence, how I'm gonna solve it. And then if at 3 p.m. I'm done, let me go back home and I can take care of my kids. So it can be, I see some people, lone wolf worker, leave me alone. Yeah, boss, but small groups. Other things to look at, do you like guiding people or using your empathy? Do you like teaching? Anyway, just a few examples, but you have many, many things. So this is examples of drivers of fulfillment. And one of the way to explore that, so let's do together a kind of a short exercise to help you start identifying some of them. So right now, I want you to think, and you can either keep your eyes closed or your eyes open, I want to say, or close, whatever feels good. We're going to do something that's going to be short and sweet. I want you to think about a moment, either at work or in your life. It doesn't matter. Don't worry if it's work or if it's personal life, it's all good, where you are doing something you enjoy. It can be something you did yesterday or 20 years ago. That doesn't matter. It can be something that lasted 3 minutes or something that was a week. It's all good. As long as it's a moment where you were doing something you enjoyed. You were feeling good about it. You were in the flow. Whatever that is, I want you to think about a moment like that. And pick the first one that comes to mind. We have many, we call that peak experiences moment. So just for now, pick one. And ask yourself, what did I like in this moment? What made this moment so good for me? And yeah, feel free to share in the chat what you are finding out, just a few words of anything that you were doing that you enjoyed. So I see when I was learning about internal circuit and I was doing work, get published a research paper, teaching Spanish, analysis, discovery, answers. Yeah. So feel free to keep adding in the chat. And so about that is wondering what I like that I would create an impact in world even when I'm normal. Okay. Working with cross-functional team, I enjoy connecting with colleagues with different background. And one of what to do with this moment is to go into more details about, okay, what do I like about working with cross-functional team? Why I like it so much? And working with colleagues with different background. Start asking you the question, why, what it is about that specifically that is really good for me. And you're gonna start, we won't have time to do the whole process now, but you're gonna start understanding some of your ingredients, some of the things that you need to be fulfilled in your work. Like a bit the ingredients you need for a cake. Does that make sense so far? Can you give me a thumbs up if that makes sense? Feel free to ask a question if you have a, yeah, I see a lot of great. I love what you are sharing. That's wonderful. And like a cake, you're gonna see everybody has a different answer. Everybody has a different list of core drivers for fulfillment. And they are yours. And the good thing, when I work with my client, we take a lot of time on this. And we come to really a list of all the core ingredients listed with a lot of details. And when you know these ingredients, first of all, they don't change much in your lifetime. They evolve a little bit, but if you look back when you were a kid, you were probably, you know, already some of the things you already like doing, you know, or in some ways. So they don't evolve much, but when you have this list, it's kind of you have the list to know how to align more your work with who you are. So I'm curious right now in terms of, and you can write that in the chat or write down if you have a piece of paper or something, write down how clear are you on your core drivers? So two things. So first, your level of clarity from a scale from 1 to 10. What is your level of clarity about your core drivers? And then what is your level of alignment between your work and your core drivers from 1 to 10? And you can do that either in the chat or if you want to do on a paper, it's going to be helpful for you. Okay, I see Robert. 109, that's probably something else. And 10, is that 10 and 10? Yes, probably 10. I see some people are, Junie and Robert, you are quite clear and aligned, it sounds like. Yeah, for you.
I had a question.
Yes.
What I like doing, they can be two things, right? Like, I do like researching and publishing papers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something like I like learning about different, I like to try different things like different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe talking to different people, knowing how they're doing. Like, I like connecting with different people. So this is something I discovered recently. I was a person who was too much to myself and uh, something like that before. But recently, I I follow different people and see their paths in career, like what they're doing related to my field, especially. So knowing about different people is something and research is one thing. Then how do you connect these two? Because these are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, I love that you have the awareness of these two things that are really important for you, that you have this clarity. This is great. What I invite you, and we're gonna share more things. There is more things to add to the mix to kind of clarify your career most aligned. So I don't have a magic answer for you right now, but keep that in mind as we are continuing, especially when you are going to the impact you are here to make, because this may be helpful for you, how to combine these two things together.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the question. So let's look at the second one, what you are naturally good at or your innate talents. So this one, there is often a lot of misunderstanding. This is different than your skills, okay? The difference is that your innate talent is what you have, is natural in you. The skills is something you learned. And sometimes your skills may be aligned with your innate talents, but in some cases they are not. So if you keep looking only at your skill, the thing you've learned, and if they are not aligned with your innate talents, you're gonna keep getting lost in your career. So when I talk about innate talents, it's a thing that you have naturally. Sometimes you don't even see. It's a bit like being a fish in the water. The fish is awesome as being in the water, but the fish might not be aware that this is where the fish is the best at. And so, you know, for example, in my case, some of my innate talents, I have a natural passion and I'm naturally authentic and genuine when I share. It's not something I took a class on. I was kind of born like that, you know. It's kind of natural to me. So this is what I talk about your innate talent. So one of the way to look at that, a great way, there are different ways, but one of the ways to ask people in your life, friends, family, coworkers, about people you trust, what qualities and strengths do they see in you? Because often your biggest strengths are the things you take the most for granted. Because it's come to you so easily, like the fish in the water, that you discount it. You have a blind spot around it. Because it's easy for you, so you assume it's easy for other people when it's not. So asking other people about these things maybe give you a glimpse about those. And think about also, maybe in the past, somebody who gave you acknowledgement about something you did, tell you why. Like one of my clients, for example, she is really good at making cards, you know, crafting beautiful cards. She's with wonderful font and beautiful design. She's just gifted at it. And often when she shares this card to parents to invite their kids to a party or something like that, she gets a lot of compliment. People are like, oh my God, I love your cards. And she tends to have discounted it because for her, it's not a big deal when it's actually part of a gift. So think about maybe compliment people have told you that you have brushed off. When someone gives you a compliment, an acknowledgement, this is a gift to help you see what are some of your gifts in the world. So take the time to listen to that and ask, even if that can be very uncomfortable, they are giving you a big favor. Okay, you're with me so far? Awesome. And feel free to share if you have any insight or anything coming up for you. Feel free to share in the chat. Any realizations, even small nuggets, you know, even if they are small. I see Niarika, I can learn and change my path fast. Awesome, great. So now let's look at what you love doing. So this is often more clear for people. It's your true interest and passion, the thing you really enjoyed. And the difference with your core drivers are really more, you know, the core ingredients that you need. For example, I like to be challenged. I like collaboration. I like independence. Versus your passion is not more the interest that you have. That may include some of these drivers, but more interest and passion. And one of the ways to look at it, I want to give you an example from a client to help you see why it's important. So I had this client I was working with, and she would tell me when she was driving around to places, every time she saw a house for sale, she couldn't help but stop and she wanted to check the house, even if she was not looking for a house to buy, but she had an impulse to go and check it out. And when in the process, we help her clarify what she really wanted to do and her life purpose was, she realized that for her, she really wanted to help people find their soulmate home. She has this gift. When she's in a home, she feels into the energy of the house. And when she kind of know how to match the right people with the right house. And she realized, wow, this is why I've always been obsessed with houses and checking them out. And she connected the dot. So it's why I invite you to look at and think about some of the things you are obsessed with, you cannot help doing, that you enjoyed, and just start becoming aware of them. Even the thing you say, you take for granted or you dismiss. You know, for example, I had an obsession for personal growth and self-discovery. And it ended up that now I'm using that in my work. It doesn't mean you're going to use all of it in your work, but there are some stuff that could be actually part you can include in your work in some way or another. Anybody wants to share something they are obsessed with or something they love doing and they like, you love doing all the time? Anybody wants to share in the chat or verbally?
Sure, I'll share. I love attending Toastmasters meetings, networking, the valuable lessons I learned, and being able to share it with others. Watch others grow as I grow.
Mm-hmm. So attending the meeting, networking, and there is something about, I heard the lesson, you love sharing what you learn to others. Why do you like sharing what you learn to others?
Because as I grow, I like to watch others grow as well.
You like what? I didn't get that.
As I grow, I like to watch others grow as well.
Oh, you like to see others grow as well. Beautiful.
Yes.
So then you share so that you can help them grow. Awesome. I love that. Yes. And by the way, asking why is a great way to go deeper into your life purpose. So when you like something, I encourage you, there is a technique, you can ask 5 whys in a row. So ask yourself, why do I like that? Answer. And then when you have the answer, why do I like this? And keep going down, you're gonna get to the core of why this is meaningful to you and what your life purpose is. Great, I see Merkel. I love meeting people and networking with others, supporting others, Sandra. So awesome, great.
Isabel?
Yes.
Yes, this is Vivian.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, people used to tell me, stop talking to strangers. That's not, I live with some spinster aunts in the house. Today, and since 20 years ago, I talk to strangers. I'm a broadcast journalist and confidence coach. I help people tell their story. And as a mental toughness coach, when people are depressed, they just want to be seen and heard. And so I'm living, hopefully with your help, a higher purpose, helping people be seen and heard. And Zoom, Toastmasters is the best gift to this planet, really. And thank you, Isabel, for being a part of my life today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Vivian. I love that. And I love how, yeah, actually the thing, stop talking to strangers. No, keep talking to strangers. This is part of your gift.
Yes.
You know, this is from the beginning. This is what happened often from the beginning. We have the way we show up in the world, even as kids, already inform some of a natural gift. They are just right there. So in the right environment with people who can show you, yes, this is your gift. So I love, this is such a great example. Thank you for sharing.
Merci, Isabel.
Avec plaisir. Okay, so let's look at the impact you are here to make or your true purpose. And I would say this one is really what's really going to help you in terms of your life purpose the most. And is kind of the one that the 3 other elements we just looked at are in support to this. They're all interconnected. And when I say your true purpose or the impact you are here to make, first of all, we all have one. We all have one. I have no doubt about that. I've worked with hundreds of people, and every time we find something. So if you are doubting that, believe me, even if you are not sure yet. And it's already in you. So it's not something grandiose you have to look outside of yourself. Sometimes we say, what is my life purpose? And we feel like, is that I don't know, saving lives? Is that saving the planet? And we think about this grandiose thing and we feel like, oh, I don't know if I want a life purpose. No, your life purpose is already in you. It's kind of the way you already show up in the world and the impact you are already having on others around you without even realizing it. So in the case of what you share, Vivian, I love that because it's already the impact you are having. So looking at that in yourself and going away from what people think, oh, you should help the planet or whatever it is, as long as if it's your life purpose, that's great, but it might not be yours. And it can be sometimes very simple. It can be, oh, I love when I see people sad, finding a way to light them their mood and make them laugh. This can be part of your purpose. It can be a simple thing like that. And so one of the ways to find out about that, so let me share about, again, a little story of a client of mine I'm working with. We did this session right this week, so it's all fresh. And he was confused about his purpose. And so I gave him a different cues to help him clarify that. And he told me and asked him, when I want you to think about a thank you you receive from someone about something you did, someone thank you for something you did, and this thank you meant the world to you. So he told me he's a manager, he owns a business, and he has employees. And he told me a few years ago, he visited one of his previous employees in a family. And she introduced him to a family by saying, this is one of the best boss I've ever had. This was such a great mentor. My client just told me, this thank you meant the world to me. There is nothing more, he said that, there is nothing more that matters more to me than being a great mentor for people to help them grow and improve in their lives. And of course, we clarify what that meant for you. So I want you, so this is pointing in the direction of your purpose. Of course, we need to use other tools, but it's a great way to look at it. So you can ask yourself, in the past, are there thank you I received? I'm talking about genuine thank you that you receive from people about something you did or something you impacted them. And when they said it, it was like, oh, wow, that meant so much to you, because this is really pointing in the direction. Or if not, what kind of appreciation would mean the most to you? So this is such a powerful question for you to think about. And feel free, and you may need more time. You know, all these inquiries I'm giving, don't worry if right now you are not, it's a lot to take in. So don't worry if right now you're like wondering, write down the questions, and you know, it may take time, some journaling, some observing yourself, and you may have more ideas coming up about that. Okay, great. I want to check in terms of the time. I think I had until 8:45 p.m. Pacific time. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. I want to ensure I'm respectful of the time here. So feel free also to share in the chat if there is anything, any insight coming up about that. Maybe a thank you. Yeah, I want to hear about a thank you you received for something that really moved you and felt like, oh, that means a lot to me. So if you can share that in the chat, what was the thank you about? Either in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and let me know. So mucul, satisfied feeling. Simplicity of your design. Thank you. Yes, somebody did it for me, but yes, it's and mucul, satisfied feeling. What is the thank you? So it's not like the feeling you got, but when the person thank you, what did they thank you for? This is what I'm looking at.
Am I broadcasting?
Broadcasting?
Okay, you can hear me.
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Very good. So I get regular, honest, emotional thank yous on a regular basis. I work for the Lifeline program. I provide cell phones and free internet to people in poverty in the United States. And when they walk away, I get real handshakes. I get real smiles and eye contact. And these are things that most impoverished people don't just give away. It's one of the things that they still have is their handshake and their honesty. And when you see a mother of 2 or 3 who has very little and she's living in her car, cry because you give her a cell phone, you believe it. Like that's what I was saying earlier in the chat, that for me, my core drivers are empathy and sympathy and honesty. And what I'm doing meets that head on.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. And I'm curious, either for you, the fact that these people who don't have a lot of means and you help them by giving, you know, a phone or something, so it has an impact in their life. Is that meaningful for you to have this kind of impact in their lives?
Without a doubt. I've spent many years doing for me, and now I get paid literally do for other people. It has changed a lot of the way that I think about other people. You know that poverty exists. You don't realize the impact of some small positive thing until you see that response. It's a complete life difference. It's a complete life change.
That gives me chills to hear you. Thank you for allowing us right now to feel that, to expand by sharing your story with us. I feel like I'm more aware of the impact of that and the small thank you like that, and to see how important it is. So thank you. Okay, I see, Junie, I get mostly solving problem. So yes, beautiful. So yeah, keep looking at that awesome, you know, awesome work. And I see Elma, like when I'm able to just listen and encourage person who sometimes just need a listening ear. Yes, yes, beautiful. And then, you know, you can ask yourself, why do I like that? Why is that important for me to listen and encourage people? By asking this question, you're going to understand even more what the purpose for you underneath it. Great. Beautiful. So right now, let me see here what I want to cover. So I'm curious now, we've looked at the 4 elements, and of course I want you to tell you, we are going, you know, when I work with people one-on-one, we spend a lot of time, we go deeper. Here I wanted to start giving you a glimpse and some actionable thing you can start doing. Of course, you know, it takes more than an hour of session to give fully justice to this, so it's important for me to say it because there is a lot of depth and precision into it. that that comes with it when we really take the time to do the work, and it takes, you know, several months to do that. But I think already you have a good sense, and you can have some cues to explore more what is in alignment and not for yourself. So I would like you to check in with yourself, and you can share in the chat. So in terms of, first of all, what in the 4 areas, these 4 areas listed, what are the ones that are in alignment with your work, your current work, and what are the ones that you're realizing may not be in alignment? So if you can share that a bit in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and share with me. If you are realizing, you may not know yet, but you may realize, oh, I'm sensing that this piece is probably not in alignment with my current work. Or no, this one, some of you, I love that, several of you shared, this is in alignment. So if some of you want to share that, I would love to hear. It can also be clarity. You may realize, oh, this thing I know, this part here, I'm not clear yet. So as you are, yeah, Junie, I'm clear on the core drivers and values. How you are sharing, as you are sharing in the chat, I'm gonna move forward to ensure we end on time. So, and what I want you to know is that this is where the opportunity is. The part where you are unclear, where there is misalignment, this is the opportunity is to align more your work with your life purpose. This is where it is, and the areas for you to work on. And I want to say also, it's kind of a spiral up. So whether, you know, some of you may be like, I'm not clear about my authentic self, there's a lot of things I need to align. Some of you may like, oh, I already have a lot of alignment. There is always a place where you can align it more. It's like it's keep getting better and better. You know, in my case, my work is pretty aligned with my life purpose. But there is always place. I'm like, why now? I want more collaboration. I want more teamwork. So this is the next iteration of my life purpose. So this is a spiral up. You can always keep getting better and better wherever you are on your journey. And let me briefly talk about the path to your purposeful career before we end. So this is kind of the 5-step process that I follow with people. And so the first one is really discovering your authentic self blueprint, either discovering it, or if you're already clear on it, how to refine it, how to, again, it can be a next iteration for you. And from that place, envisioning your ideal career in life, or envisioning what's next from the foundation of your authentic self blueprint. And after that, the step of creating your personalized roadmap. So this is kind of the process I follow with people with my clients or in my courses, and create your personalized roadmap at your own pace. If you are someone who wants to reinvent your careers, you don't necessarily have to, you know, quit your job tomorrow to start something else. You can go at your own pace while you are staying in your current work to see how you can build up the next thing. And number 4, you know, implementing the roadmap with all the, sometimes there is roadblocks and fears coming on the way. So supporting people through that until they reach the vision. So just a recap. Just a recap of that. And yeah, by the way, this will be in the recording, and you'll have a chance at the end, if you want me to email you the slides, because there was a lot of diagrams, I'll be able to do that so that you know. So a recap on what we covered tonight. So the number 1 key factor to aligning your career with your life purpose, which is really your authentic self blueprint. This is the key piece. the 4 elements of this career blueprint that we just looked at, and where you are at on the scale, and finally the 5 step for you to evolve your career closer to your life purpose. Yeah, make it a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, exactly. So let's see, 42, I'm checking the time here. So if you want, feel free to share in the chat one insight you got from this session tonight, one key insight. And if you want, you can also put down one baby step you're gonna take in the next week. So one insight you got from this session. And then if you want, what is one baby step you're gonna take this week? So I see Mukul to be what I am and be authentic. Junie, YouTube channel, take an exercise to confirm more about what I like to do to find more answers. Wonderful. Asking why 5 times to get to the bottom. Yes, I mean, that's a great one. Like the kids, you know, ask why. We need to do the same. Learn how to find the authentic of myself. Pay attention to your authentic self. Journaling to self-discovery deep within me. Awesome. Glad to hear that. So a few, yes, what is your YouTube channel name? So here we come, sharing some of the resources, and I'll share also in the chat so that you can copy and paste, and I'll be able to send the slide as well. So a few resources. First of all, if you want to receive the slides, you know, share your email with me in the chat. We can put it in the private chat if you don't want everybody to see. Share your email in the chat, or you can also email me at isabel@brilliancy.com if you are watching the recording, and I'll send you the slide. And in the slide, I will add a slide about the question, you know, the key question to ask yourself to clarify the 4 elements. So I'll add that as well. And then at the bottom, you see my website, my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn profile. I'm going to share that in the chat in a minute so that it's easy for you to access. Great. And the last thing I want to mention, for if you feel like you need extra support on your journey, you have the chance to apply for a complimentary session with me, which is your meaningful work discovery session. So this is a session we do on Zoom, a 1-hour session to help you on the journey of that. If you feel like you are really at a point where, you know, in the next 3 to 6 months, I really want to get support and clarifying more what it is for me to align my career with my life purpose. If you have ready at this point, and I'm offering that because I know sometimes it can be hard to look at yourself. To do this work alone can be a bit tricky. So if you feel like you are ready, you can, you know, apply for a session like that. And to give you just a feel about what we look at in the session. So in the session, you will create a sense of clarity about what a purposeful career looks like for you. What are the building blocks of a meaningful career for you? We'll discover what is the #1 thing what is stopping you from going there. So we all have different challenges in the way. And finally, we'll identify what are the most powerful action you can take to help you face that blocks. And yes, and we'll have also the opportunity to discuss if you feel like you want extra support with me, knowing that there is no obligation at the end of the session. So I'm happy to do it, whatever works for you. What I want to say that I would love to do a session with every single one of you. However, with my schedule and my client, I may not be able to do with one of you. So it's why I do application. So if you can fill out the application, and I'll do my best to do with the people I can do who are really ready and motivated to do that. And in any case, and also, so I'll review the emails about that on Monday. So feel free, if you are interested in the session, I encourage you to apply this weekend so that on Monday I'll check out and I'll reach out to you. And finally, yeah, feel free to, you have extra resources that I gave you here. I'm going to share in the chat. On my YouTube channel, I have videos where I share inspiration and tips and ideas, things like that. So it's a great way also to get more of the insights. Great. So I'm looking at the chat right now. Let me see. I need to be able to put in the chat my notes. So I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna see how I can, I'm just gonna stop the sharing for a minute. And I'm gonna copy and paste in the chat what I put in the slide so that if you need, it's gonna be easier for you to access it. Okay, so here it is, just posted in the chat. Okay, just reading, catching up. I see your email. So Abhijit, do you know if I save the chat, will I be able also to have all the email address we were in private chat as well?
Yes.
Okay, because there is many, so I don't know. I don't have time to copy and paste all of it. Final.
If you save it, you will have everything.
I'll have everything. Okay, including the private chat. Okay, awesome. Great. Yes, thank you so much. I know I'm a few minutes past the time, but you know, if there is time for question, I'm happy to stay for question, but if we need to end, I totally understand too. So
what I can do is I can end and then we can ask questions. We can go to the questions.
Sounds good.
So thank you so much, Isabel. Thank you for sharing the 4 elements of the blueprints. I felt that was very in-depth and helped us understand what we need to know about ourselves so that we can align our life purpose with our career. So thank you so much for taking this time and coming here and sharing your gift with us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was fun. I love the participation. I love it was really, really fun and fun for me to be there, meaningful. So thank you.
Everyone, please ask your questions. Please turn on your camera and Isabel will be able to answer your questions.